Yeah, it's probably one of the sort of most critically acclaimed indie games on PC last year. We've been working on it now for about 3 months, so we're sort of getting near being finished. So we just wipe this horribly greasy screen.
So you make copies of yourself, is that?
Yeah, so the basic gameplay is that you have a tool that lets you clone yourself. So simply, you can just hold down like L1 or L2 on PlayStation, and you make a clone. And as you do that, basically the clones get to sort of stand on different things, open different doors, do puzzles that you can't do just as this one guy.
Yeah.
So this room has been finished by me on the train this morning. And normally, if you stood on this thing, door would open up, and then you'd be able to go across. The trick is that all of your clones walk the same as you. So if you make one and you walk forwards, they'll die from the light, but they'll walk with you, and they'll turn with you, and they'll jump with you. So if I go back out here where it's quite as light, they'll walk, jump. So if you walk off a thing, they're going to walk off the same thing with you. But if you want to make them do that, you can sort of put yourself there. This guy's going to die now, this guy's going to stay up there. And there's falling damage, as you can see. So one of the things you use the clones for example, to avoid that falling damage, is you make new ones. And the other element is you can become those clones, which is why it's called the swapper.
Yeah.
So make one, jump in, make one, jump in, make one, jump in, and then hopefully, I've still got one left, yep, jump in, and your guy lands and the other three die. So that's like the I don't know where that one come from. Just as a caveat, this isn't finished on Vita yet. So there's loads of different puzzles. It's probably about 8 hours long, depending on how smart you are. But there's loads of different elements to it. Like for example, in this red area, this red light stops you from being able to swap into clones. So normally, all of this red light is up here as well. So you would make this guy, but you can't jump into him. So what you would do is walk forwards. This guy would fall, and then as he drops down, you jump into him like that, or fail completely, and continue onwards. Let me try that again. No! But that's the idea.
Yeah.
As you can see, sort of left one completely slows down time, so you can do all the sort of twitchy things you need to do. It's more about puzzles and thoughts than Twitch gameplay, but there are some elements that do require like proper skill with the analog sticks.
Is there a deep story to this?
There is. I don't want to ruin it at all. Yeah. Basically, the story is told through like pop-up things like this that come up, and it's told through computers that sort of tell the story of the station that you're on. You basically, at a very simple level, you're trying to escape from a ruined space station. And to do that, you sort of go through all the levels, and the story sort of becomes apparent as you play. There's some live sort of stuff going on as you go through, with some dialogue and voiceovers that happen. A lot of the story is told through these like computer terminals. So a little bit like, say, the voice recorders in Bioshock, for example. It's very, very dark, and it gets darker. If you like games that sort of have stories that are quite deep, quite personal, sort of the idea of being able to make these clones and kill them off to progress is a big part of the story.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, it's quite a mature game, and there is quite a lot of like plot going on behind the scenes. But a lot of the story is also told through the environment and how the environment sort of works together in the game. So I'm playing this terribly.
It's got really good lighting on.
Yes, the Vita screen for it is just really, really nice. We've been working on the brightness because it's interesting you say, because obviously if you're playing this on a bus in the morning, or like on an overground train in London, as I was this morning, the brightness can sort of be affected. So we've been thinking about that. We've got full brightness settings to sort of change the settings. I mean, you want it quite low if you're in a dark room. Here at Rezzed, it's nice, it's very easy to see. We're also been working on changing the sensitivity of the sticks, because obviously that's sort of a really important element of it. And you can turn touchscreen on and off. There are touchscreen elements to it. You can move clones around and place them using touchscreen if you want to. Obviously, we know that not everyone does, but it's an option on the Vita. The game is cross-buy. So if you buy it on Vita, you get it on PS3 and PS4. The absolute best, amazingest version is definitely on the PS4, of course. This Vita version, the reason we're not showing it at Rezzed yet is because it's not quite up to where we want it to be. I don't know how much you know about the Vita, but it's actually not that fast as a system. It runs about as fast as an iPhone 4S, and the Swapper, although it's 2D, actually has quite a lot of different things going on with it. It's got a lot of depth of field stuff, it's got a lot of lighting going on. And when we first sort of moved it over, we had the PS3 version running at about 30 FPS, and this one was going at about 10. And since then, we sort of worked out that there's been a lot of things that we can tweak without sort of changing the game, which has been really good. One of the things, we've just been removing lights that were turned on but not actually showing. So a lot of the stuff we've done, people won't notice that we've taken out because it's not like changing the graphics. But it's made the game so much faster. I mean, as you can see here, I don't know how well the camcorder will pick it up, but we're basically running now about 20, which isn't good enough, but it's getting there. I think this is an example of the stories and how it's sort of told through some of the computer screens. You can go back through and read all of these, and again, you know, touch control is always optional. You can go back out. You can read those at any time as well, and of course, for a game that's quite sort of maze-like, there's a proper map.
Very handy.
Proper sort of controls like that. So should be out May. Late May. We're just working on finishing up this version, tweaking the PS3 version, and then we're basically at the point where we're going to submit to Sony.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Brilliant.